Hello, my fellow creators, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm coming on here to share one more goodie box I'll be making. If you watched my video a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, I made this beautiful door hanging basket with a little die-cut apple on it. And I'm making these for the teachers at a school where my daughter works. Now we're doing these for Day of the Teacher, but there are other staff as well that may not have a door of their own per se. For example, the ladies in the cafeteria, the custodian, the instructional assistants. Sometimes there are 3 or 4 instructional assistants in one classroom. So they don't have their own door that I could hang one of these on. So my daughter asked if I could come up with a different idea for those staff members. So I thought long and hard, and I thought, what else could I make that would hold goodies, little treats for them, and still be sort of school themed? And I thought, you know what? How about a milk carton? So I made this little milk carton, and this is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And I'm only closing it, keeping it closed with this little clothespin, and these little clothespins are really tiny. I got them at Dollar Tree. And then my daughter will be able to stuff this milk container with goodies of her choice. Maybe some candies, maybe even a small gift card of some sort. But this is what we're going to be giving to the other staff members. So they're classified staff. So classified staff includes the clerical staff, the instructional assistants, the custodial maintenance staff, the kitchen staff, the student supervisors. So they'll get a little treat as well. And I am going to continue to use this back to school paper pad to help decorate the little box. So let's get started. Now, as you can see, I used this red shimmery paper for my little milk carton because I wanted it to be red shimmery paper that I'm going to be using for the hanging baskets as well. But I'm going to show you what to do on this gray cardstock because I think it's a little bit easier to see on there than it is on the red. So first of all, this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, and I am going to cut that in half at 5.5 by 8.5, and a half sheet of the cardstock will make one of the milk cartons. So we'll start with the 8.5 side across the top. And then you're going to score down at 2, at 4, at 6, and at 8. Then you're going to rotate your paper to the 5.5 inch side, and you're going to score at 1 inch, at 3 3/4 inches, and at 5 inches. Now let me just mark those lines with a pen so you can kind of see where they are. All right, let's try marking it with this Sharpie. That might work a little bit better so you can see. There we go. So that's the 5-inch score mark. This is the 3 3/4 inch. And then this is the 1 inch. And these are along the 5.5 inch side of paper. And then along the 8 inch side, or the 8.5 inch side, here's the 2 inch score mark, the 4 inch, the 6, and the 8. The pieces that are going to be cut out are this rectangle here, this little square, and this rectangle there, and then this small rectangle down on this corner. And then here we're gonna cut just at a small angle, just so that when these flaps fold up, they kind of fold together more easily. So we'll trim that angle. And my lines are a little more exaggerated than how I'm going to cut. And then we'll also cut this at a small angle, just to make our tabs close a little bit more smoothly. Alrighty, so let's cut this so you can see how I'm cutting and putting together our box. So I'm starting with cutting at this corner, and I'm lining up my blade to this side of the paper right at this score line. I'm just cutting a small angle. I'll flip it over and I'll do the same thing. On that side. And then here I'll just cut real small, and you'll see that it's smaller than the marks I made, but that's just a real small sliver that I'm cutting out there. And here we're cutting right on that score line up to this score line, and then I'll cut at an angle, very slight angle in. I think I need to go up just a bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and burnish my lines, my score lines. And I'm not going to assemble it yet, but I want to go ahead and burnish these score marks I made. And I like to cut my paper before I burnish the lines, because sometimes once they're folded, it's a little more difficult, for me anyway, to do my cutting. And then these top two will get folded the opposite way that you folded everything else, because that's going to be your little flaps here. Now, in order to get our little triangle fold here, what I did was, with my little scoring stylus here, I kind of marked right in the middle. So this is 2 inches wide here, so I marked in the middle. So between 2 and 4 is the 3-inch mark, and then here between 6 and 8 is the 7-inch mark. And then I'm just going to get my ruler and lightly score from that center mark to this corner where the scores meet, other score lines meet. I thought about trying to design a file on my Cricut, but I thought, well, these aren't too many I have to make. I can just do this by hand. And then you'll kind of fold that in to get that line ready to, the paper ready to bend at that angle. Because when you do fold it, let me show you, then this will fold together and create your little folded triangle. Now, let me get one of my red ones out because that's the one I'm going to decorate with you today. So it's easier to decorate before you put this together so you can get your pattern paper on there easily. And each of these sections is 2 inches wide by 2 3/4 inches tall. So I'm going to be cutting my pattern paper at 1 7/8 wide by 2 5/8 inches tall. And I'm only going to put pattern paper on these 4 sections. I thought about putting some on this one right here, but when I put this together and added the apple, I thought it was kind of cute like that. I didn't want to overwhelm the little box with too much pattern paper. So that's what I'm sticking to. So let's go ahead and pick a pattern paper. I think I'm going to go with this apple one. And it has a beautiful print on the reverse so that I can alternate my papers. Now, of course, you can use the same pattern on all 4 sides. You can use a different pattern on each of the 4 sides. However you choose to put this together. It's entirely up to you. You'll see I have some scraps left, and I can use these for cards or for other projects that I'm sure I'll put together in the future. So now I have to decide, do I want to alternate or do I want it all the same? I think I'm going to go ahead and alternate the paper. So let me go ahead and attach these 4 pieces. And I'm just using my ATG here. You can use liquid glue or whatever kind of tape you choose. Oh, and then pay attention. So these 2 tabs are really the front of your milk carton. So make sure if you want this pattern paper to be on the front, to put it there. And if you want the other one, to put it there. So I want the apple there and I want this on the front because I'm going to put my little apple here, so it kind of contrasts that. I realized as I was gluing those that I hadn't scored my red paper. I showed you on my gray but didn't score my red one. So let me go ahead. I mean burnish, not score. I hadn't burnished my lines, my score lines. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some score tape here because it's a little bit stronger, and I do want to make sure our little boxes stay put together while we fill them with little treats for the staff. And then I'm just going to lay this flat here and bring over the other end and just kind of make sure they're lined up fairly well. burnish those down. Make sure you're stuck real well together. Then we can fold in our side flaps and attach the front and back flap. And our box is almost done. Almost assembled. So kind of square off your box. And it does not have to be perfect by any means. Just get it as close as you can. And then I'm just using my bone folder here, reaching in and making sure that that support tape is hanging on. Then we can clip our little box together, kind of make sure our fold is good and our little triangle is good. I'll just put together one of the little apples real quick and attach it right here. Now I did go ahead, since I'm kind of going to do this in mass production style, I cut out all the pieces to my apple, and I used the Simon Says Stamp Picture Book Caramel Apple Die for this. And so even the little eyes I kept in this container. So then I'm just bringing in my Dollar Tree cutting mat because I'm going to be doing some ink blending. And I'm going to use Warm Cocoa by Gina K Designs, Cherry Red by Gina K Designs, and Grass Green, also by Gina K Designs. And I have my little blending brushes ready. I've got some pens ready for some detail work on those little caramel apples. So let's get started. So I just kind of cut out a little circle here just to give the two different pieces of the apple die something to attach to, and then a place for me to be able to glue the eyes back in. Now, as far as my little eyes go, I thought about adding some googly eyes, but the only ones I have in my stash are just too big for this little apple. But that would be a good way to go instead of fussing with these small die cut pieces. And I'm just grabbing those and using one of my dark brown Copic markers and just kind of rolling over that die cut piece. And then just popping them in to the opening of the little caramel apple. Then of course we'll add a few details, maybe some rosy cheeks. I'm going to use a red Sharpie. It's a fine point Sharpie. It just makes it easier so that I kind of follow the outline of that die cut mouth. And then I'm going to use my Micron 3 pen to add a few eyelashes. I think I went a little too long on these lashes, but that's okay. There we go. And then I'm going to bring in my white Jelly Roll pen. Maybe add a little white dot to the eyes, a few dots to the cheeks, and just some detail lines here and there to help bring this little die cut image to life. Alrighty, now that I have my little apple all assembled and detail added, I can go ahead and add it to our milk carton. And this I am going to add using some liquid glue. I want to make sure it stays put. The liquid glue is pretty strong. So I'm just going to add it kind of off center here. And again, I'm going to open up my milk carton, put that die cut face down, and burnish real well with my scoring tool. Make sure that sticks right onto there. And we have these adorable little milk cartons to give to the classified staff at the school where my daughter works. She is the administrative assistant there, so she just loves giving to her staff. And then these baskets, their door hanging baskets, are going to go for the teachers at that school. Now, the district that my daughter works at and where I used to work, we celebrate our teachers and our classified and our supervisory and management staff because everyone plays a role in making sure that our students have the safest and best learning environment. So we like to thank each and every individual that contributes to that for our students. Let me know in the comments below how you celebrate the teachers and staff at your children's school. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I'd be thrilled if you subscribed to my YouTube channel or followed me on any of my other social media platforms. As always, have a beautiful, safe, and creative day. Thanks for watching. Bye!